Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I love how you guys have forever and always believed in the Zombies franchise. Thank you so much for that. Because of you, Zombies has become the most revered franchise on Disney Plus, going to #1 within hours of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires premiere. I say this because last summer was the greatest summer of my life, and a summer that I will never ever forget, because I had the honor of reviewing Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires with an open heart and an open mind. And what got me about the reviews of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires were people were so oblivious to the concept of the blood fruit, the concept of vampires and daywalkers, and how they could coexist. Obviously, to be expected in Zombies 5, what a storyline will be created off of is the relationship between Nova and Victor's characters, Malachi Burton and Freya Skye, and how the two groups, the vampires and the daywalkers, think this doesn't belong or should have never happened. And that's where the confliction will ascend. And obviously, blood fruit confliction over the Moonstone. There's a lot to be excited about this, the unveiling of what's inside of the vortex. So it's really beyond me why people are choosing to criticize zombies the way they are, and talking about Zombies 5 already in such a negative way. It's going to be 5 years before Zombies 5 happens, and that will give me 5 years to upload great videos about Zombies and Descendants every single day for the rest of my life, even if that's what that means for you guys. Because you have been incredibly supportive of this YouTube channel, and because you have been incredibly supportive of this YouTube channel, that means I have to be the voice of Descendants and Zombies for a little while longer to help everybody make sense of this franchise, to make them fall in love with it more than they ever had before. Because I saw the profound impact that Descendants and Zombies had on your hearts. I have been there through the eras of High School Musical, Hannah Montana, Wizards, Phineas and Ferb. I've been there for the rise of Tangled, one of the most successful classics that Disney ever put out by 2010. I have been there for the rise of the popularity in The Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and Sleeping Beauty. I know the appreciation that goes with these franchises and these classics. So because I know what it's like to be each and every one of you, the greatest way to honor you is by talking about your favorite stars the way they were meant to be talked about, because I too love them so much. And I think there's a lot of prosperity that goes with talking about the cast of Zombies. Because one thing I've noticed about the cast of Zombies they are so incredibly supportive of each other. And they believe in each other. The cool thing about Victor and Nova's characters, Malachi Burton and Freya Skye, are they believe in each other so much. So why can't we just take a chance on them and give them hope for the future? Because there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Freya Skye right now, having to carry on the lineage of people like Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim. And for sure, there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Malachi Burton, because we really don't know a whole lot about them. And because we really don't know a whole lot about them, what goes with that is giving them a chance. So if I were to go online and write a review with criticism about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires in it, like 95% of the people who did on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.com, that's not really giving you guys much of a chance or hope. Because what I wanted to do with the YouTube channel was create a YouTube channel that will give you hope for the foreseeable future. Because when you see a cast like Zombies having so much fun, with an open heart and an open mind, and being so supportive of each other. I mean, Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim can't go a day without having their arms around each other, because they love each other so much and they value their friendship. So what gives anybody the right to criticize that, or be so oblivious to the concept of how a girl can actually fall in love with a zombie? I mean, the reality of life is every single day a girl is falling in love with a zombie because a guy doesn't really understand or value the appreciation behind the relationship, and you guys put everything into a relationship. I get that. So we see ourselves a lot through the eyes of these characters because of the examples they set. But they set such a great example. I don't know why people would criticize a franchise so much. I really don't, without even giving it a chance. So that's what I wanted to do. When I see such passion coming from people like Freya Skye, I say, you know, she's going to be the next Taylor Swift, because she really is. I mean, her songs, Gold's Gone, are beautiful songs. They are great representations of what a celebrity is meant to be. And I really believe that with the response Freya Skye has gotten with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube and so many songs already downloaded on Spotify and Vivo, I really believe that she is going to be something spectacular, and there are going to be more tour dates for Freya Skye to be a part of. And Like 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour is setting up to be something really phenomenal, because we all feel inspired by Descendants or Zombies, even if we choose not to admit to it. I think there's been one person out of every at least 15 who have been inspired by Descendants of Zombies. And there have been people who have become the best of friends because of Descendants of Zombies and what they have taught us. And that's the reason why Descendants of Zombies has been capitalized on so much by Disney, with the posters, the merchandise, which many of you have. And by the way, guys, you guys did a fabulous job with your signs that you made for the Worlds Collide Tour. You guys supported the Worlds Collide Tour in a way that blew my mind every single time that I watched a video from whatever venue I was watching a video from. And it made me want to be a part of it, wanted me to be in the crowd reviewing the franchises the way they were meant to be reviewed, because I'm the only guy on YouTube that does that, for those of you who haven't figured that out already, and if you haven't already noticed. I'm the only guy on YouTube that gives it the benefit of the doubt. There are probably one out of every, 500 people that upload these videos about Descendants and Zombies that give it the benefit of the doubt. And I can only wish and hope that more people would. Because I remember all the criticism Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires received, and it really broke my heart, and it really made me frustrated, because you guys just love the franchise for whatever reason you love the franchise for. I mean, you don't want to see videos uploaded where people are criticizing it all the time. You want to see videos where people are giving it promise and hope. That's what you want to see. You want to see hope for the future of Zombies 5. You want to know Zombies 5 is going to happen, because I'm here to tell you guys that Zombies 5 is going to happen, even if it doesn't happen until 2028. It is going to happen, and it's going to happen with so much promise and so many great reviews, because I'm going to make sure that it happens with great reviews and prosperity, because that's what Freya Sky deserves, because this is Freya Sky's first major movie. And because it's Freya Sky's first major movie, does she need to remember it because of criticism that people are throwing away? No, because this was a franchise that we saw ourselves through the eyes of, and we could relate to the Zombies franchise because of everything happening in our everyday lives. I just spoke on how people go to school and they're under so much pressure because they're trying to achieve acceptance, and it happens every single day. But if you have 3 or 4 really good friends that you've held on to your whole life and went to high school with, and have kept those friends throughout your whole high school experience like I did, then you find purpose in that. You find a greater appreciation for the things you go through every day because you have great friends. And that's what Zombies and Descendants have taught us. That's why these 4 people and these 2 very beautiful friendships have really set a perfect example of what friendships truly mean, and how one can really find true love, even if it is with a zombie. And I think this happens more times enough than we ever give it credit for. And I think because we can relate to these franchises more than we ever could, Hannah Montana or High School Musical, because it was just about the music or how friendships really stand the test of time. It was pretty basic concepts during the era of Hannah Montana and High School Musical. That's why the argument will forever be presented that Descendants and Zombies are 2 of the most revered franchises of all time, with ratings of 6.4 and 6.2 separating the 2. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having said that, because I really do believe that if you're going to upload a video about Descendants and Zombies, you really got to state a case in point. You've really got to be on point. You've really got to show up, and you've really got to support the franchises in the way they were meant to be supported, because that's exactly what Meg Donnelly and Mala Manheim wanted to have happen for these franchises. You know, it really frustrates me when Meg Donnelly uploads a video on TikTok, which she does from time to time, and she says she feels as if she's not good enough. For sure she's good enough, because she's such an inspiration to each and every one of you. I've seen this girl go above and beyond for a franchise that nobody thought anything over, and turned it into a global phenomenon because she believed in this first major breakout role she had more than anything else in her life. And she wanted to make the most of this opportunity, coming from a family that had no acting background whatsoever, no understanding of the business, and turned something so phenomenal into something special for her heart that's forever and always held a special place in her heart. So should we be criticizing Meg Donnelly for being so socially active on social media? Should we criticize Meg Donnelly for feeling the way she does about Descendants and Zombies? Mm-hmm. No, we shouldn't. And we should give these stars that she personally selected for us to carry on the legacy of these franchises the benefit of the doubt, more of a chance than we've ever been giving them. Which is why when I see the numbers for the videos that I uploaded with Victor and Nova's characters having numbers up to 300 views per video, I'm really thankful for each and every one of you, because it shows the passion that you've had for Descendants and Zombies and carried with you for what feels like forever. Thank you guys so much, because you're outshining the criticism that they're faced with. You know, when I see Freya Sky falling asleep on a tour bus because she's so tired from the 43 arenas from the Worlds Collide Tour and so many more projects on the horizon for her, I have a profound amount of respect for her, and I will forever, because of this debate that she's the next Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande. Because when the conversation seems to revolve around Ariana Grande way too much because of her performance in Wicked for Good coming up in November, or the conversation forever seems to revolve around Taylor Swift's box office smash party of a showgirl with 12.8 million generated in its first night on opening night, I think it's the same 4 or 5 celebrities taking away from people like Freya Sky and Ruby Rose Turner, who I'm a huge fan of, that I feel as if we can never support enough. I really do believe these franchises are so special and so spectacular for obvious reasons, because they have captivated millions of hearts. They have touched our hearts in so many unbelievable ways. And it was shown at the Worlds Collide Tour in more ways than ever before. When you guys showed up just out of love and support for your favorite stars and wanted to be lost in the moment for forever. That's what I appreciate about you guys so much, is the fact that you took something that nobody ever thought was going to amount to anything and turned it into a global phenomenon overnight. And because you turned it into a global phenomenon overnight, that's why the critics have capitalized on criticism and criticizing Descendants of Zombies, because they will find whatever they can to sell to you to make you believe, like the fact that Zombies doesn't need to make any more movies because this has happened enough, we've seen enough of this already, and we need to move on. But the question is, what can Disney ever create that is going to have a more profound impact on all of our hearts than Descendants of Zombies? Because that is exactly what they would have to do. Off the success of Descendants of Zombies, what you've got to think about is what could they ever create that could touch our hearts in so many ways? What could they ever create that could get me 5,000 subscribers on YouTube like Descendants of Zombies did for me? Or have a fan base that has been so incredibly supportive of a person uploading videos out of his office every day? The answer to that is simply nothing. So that's what the critics need to think about before they ever criticize Descendants of Zombies, because nothing will ever surpass the legacies or the lineage that Descendants of Zombies has left behind. And I stand to that. And I will prefer ever present an argument to that, because I really believe that Descendants of Zombies fans are the most incredibly supportive fans in the galaxy, not just the universe, because the universe is hardly big enough. It is the most supportive fan base in the universe because of just how beautiful the franchise is, because of the fans. Because you guys made this what it is. It was never the writers and producers. They just came up with a special concept. They didn't know if it was going to be anything special. It was really just a hit or miss. But you guys, because you accepted it, and you talked about it, you promoted it on your fan pages you created on social, you supported it in a way that no other franchise had ever been supported. Because I was a fan of every franchise you can think of, from High School Musical, Phineas and Ferb, Kim Possible, Aladdin, Bonkers, Hercules. I remember the Hercules animated TV series. It only lasted 2 seasons in the 90s, I believe, from 1998 to 1999 through 1999. And I remember playing the video games on Bonkers and Hercules on PlayStation. It was a fun time. But I think really what got those series over were the characters and how revered they had become, because Tate Donovan's portrayal of Hercules was so great. And of course, Jason Alexander's portrayal of Aladdin many years ago was great too. I think that there is so much of an appreciation that goes with Descendants of Zombies that a lot of people tend to forget about. And the thing about Descendants of Zombies is it's been 10 years. It's been 7 years for Zombies. A decade has passed since Descendants, and people are still talking about it. And the cool thing is about Descendants of Zombies fans, they are still talking about it in such a positive way and creating such a positive vibe. They are outshining all the criticism. And that's what made the Worlds Collide Tour so special. And maybe want to have the chance to crowd surf with you guys, depending on whether or not you guys would catch me or not, if indeed I did crowd surf. Because guaranteed I would have been the only guy in the crowd that would have reviewed this thing the way it was meant to be reviewed, because I know how to review it. The reason why, shout out to all the critics, the reason why this is the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel on YouTube right now, on present day, is in present day Wonderland, is because of how I review Descendants of Zombies, how I talk about Descendants of Zombies. Who actually talks about Descendants of Zombies when they upload a video on YouTube, as opposed to uploading a reaction video? Think about that for a moment, for about 30 seconds. Did you come up with an answer? Because you can't. Nobody knows how to talk about Descendants of Zombies, or talk about it in a way at least that touches your heart, because of their favorite moment, how Zed and Addison shared this passionate kiss about how they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together, and that's what it stemmed off of. That's why it became to be what it did. A lot of people were questioning why Victor and Nova didn't share a kiss. It was because of their age, but that doesn't mean that we won't see it. And that's a moment that we're building up to. There's anticipation with that. And the cool thing about anticipation is when it finally happens, it will mean more. It may not happen until 2030, but the thing is, if it doesn't happen until 2030, by the time it happens, it will happen in a way that there will be more meaning attached to it and be behind it. Because there's an appreciation that goes with these two characters. And the cool thing about these characters are we don't really know a whole lot about them. And because we really don't know a whole lot about them, that presents an opportunity for a lot of unpredictable moments to happen in this franchise. And I'm really excited to be here to commentate on Descendants of Zombies. Because from the very first moment I heard the song Dreams Come True and Rewrite the Stars and Legends in the Making, I knew this soundtrack really was very different. It presented kind of a lot of people said a Hannah Montana camp rock kind of vibe. While I don't really know what kind of a vibe it presented, it was something very different from a Hannah Montana Camp Rock kind of vibe. Meg Donnelly described that as a Hannah Montana Camp Rock vibe herself. But I really think it was very different. It deserves to be in a category of its own because the music was really catchy. I got that from how people were shouting out in the crowd, they should sing this song. A lot of people were really fond of the song Legends in the Making, and Place to Be in particular. Probably Place to Be won that one over, that argument. But I really think this soundtrack is in a category of its own because comparing it to Hannah Montana and Camp Rock soundtrack is just a mediocre way of doing it, because I think that the way to show it more respect is by putting it in a category of its own and leaving it in a category of its own to stand alone. Because as the franchises expand, the music is only going to get better. Reportedly, there's a remix of Life is Sweeter When You Are going to be happening. I, for one, am really excited about that because you can really go the distance with a Life is Sweeter When You Are remix. You can improve on what the song originally was. It's going to sound really different, I will be honest with you, without Ruby's voice being a part of it. But with Leomani Segura and Kylie Control lending their voices to the song, I think it will be spectacular. But I will forever leave the door open for Ruby to return because I forever believe that Ruby's story was far from over. And because of how Ruby announced on social media, because of her PR tour and what have you, going on for Most Popular and other projects outside of Descendants, and how her management label wanted her to go about doing it that way, I think that there's a chance that Ruby could see her return to the franchise, and there could be something for her to do in present-day Wonderland. All you've got to do is get somebody there that knows how to write and bring a franchise to life and has a greater appreciation. Do you have any ideas of who that could be? You're looking at him right now, yours truly, because I've had a greater appreciation for some of the most unforgettable classics of all time: Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Hercules, The Lion King. There are so many people that can see their introduction into this franchise and so many forgotten characters. I will forever advocate for Halloween Town and Olympus being distant worlds that Red and Chloe could travel to, or even Agrabah. I would love to see Red and Chloe step inside the Cave of Wonders and maybe the voice of the Cave of Wonders saying, "Who dares disturb my slumber?" I have a voice that I could really lend to the soundtrack, and I could also CGI a rabbit in that movie too that I would gladly be the voice of, because I know there was a suggestion for Red to have a pet rabbit, and I think we could CGI that guy, and we could bring it to life in a way that nobody else has ever brought a CGI'd character to life ever before, even Olaf from Frozen, who I was a huge fan of. There was just something about a snowman wanting warm hugs that I dearly fell in love with. So because of my greater appreciation for sitting behind a microphone and bringing characters to life and doing effort sounds behind a sound booth, I would love to offer my voice to the Descendants soundtrack. I just want to put that out there. Because there's so much you could do with these franchises, and forever there will be something to do with these franchises. Don't ever believe the critics saying they're running out of supernatural creatures to have involved in the Zombies franchise, because there are endless amounts of supernatural creatures to have involved with this franchise, and so many ways that we could bring this to life, because we're already bringing it to life. I mean, I just saw some photos of the original Zombies cast having a whole lot of fun. They were, outside New Zealand touring around, and they took some photos and they threw it up on social media, and people commemorated from time to time, uploading the photos. I thought they were really cool, but the one thing I noticed about the photos were they were so appreciative of each other. It was truly unbelievable. It made me wish that I had a friend that was just as appreciative of me as I was of them, because of how, they seem to be just so supportive of each other. And that's why I feel as if they don't deserve to be criticized. And people like Meg Donnelly forever and always don't deserve to be going at home every night and looking themselves up on YouTube and watching an interview they probably did an hour ago where the person asks them questions and they're just there, blinking at them, not knowing how to understand the question or how to respond to the question. You don't even know how many interviews I've watched of Meg Donnelly or Ruby Rose Turner, kind of just blinking their eyes at the questions they're being asked from the reporter, as if to say, what am I supposed to say here? I say this because I've been doing interviews for a very long time, and I think the most effective way of doing an interview is, if you're going to do an interview, you're going to have to do an interview by talking to them as if you've known them your whole life. And I know that's very difficult for a lot of people to do because they often just read off a notepad of pre-written questions and statements. But the most effective way of doing an interview is talking to them as if you've known them your whole life, as if they're your best friend. And that's all I've ever wanted to do, is do everything with an open heart and an open mind and just touch the hearts of everybody who's ever been a fan of Descendants of Zombies. In some way or somehow, I like to believe that I did that. I've uploaded almost 500 videos on this YouTube channel, and I have such an incredible reach. And I never ever thought I would have as much of an incredible reach as what I've had talking about Descendants of Zombies, because this really has been the greatest honor of my life to be able to profile these franchises the way they were meant to be profiled, because nobody really knows how to talk about Descendants of Zombies and present it for its true value and its true worth and its true meaning. I was always a big fan of everything. The more I think about it, Hercules, Big Hero 6, Frozen, Tangled. Tangled was one of my all-time favorites, which is why I'm hoping that Ruby is going to be the voice of the Rapunzel live-action character and really bring her to life, because I think Ruby's voice on songs like I Can See the Light and Wind in My Hair would be a beautiful addition to really bringing Tangled to life. And with how much inspiration she's drawn from the Rapunzel character, I think she should really be given the opportunity to run with that. So I will forever support Ruby wanting to be the live-action Rapunzel in Disney's up-and-coming live-action Tangled, which is a franchise they can't afford to really make any mistakes on, because if you make mistakes on Tangled, people are never going to forgive you. I remember how Beauty and the Beast in 2017 was the most popular and most revered, most highly demanded live action for a sequel, because people wanted to see more of a story. Now, while that could never be possible, I think that because of how revered Emma Watson's portrayal was of Belle being the most live-action Disney princess of all time, most lifelike, I think that when you talk about a franchise such as Tangled, you really can't afford to make any mistakes with this one. So you've really got to be on point with who's going to play Rapunzel. And I think Ruby Rose Turner wins over the hearts of everybody over someone like Sabrina Carpenter. Why Sabrina Carpenter is forever being suggested as the live-action Rapunzel, your guess is as good as mine. But as long as we continue to support Ruby Rose Turner with wanting to portray the live-action Rapunzel, I think never enough support can be shown for someone like Ruby. Now, I know that has a lot to do with how I'm the biggest fan of Ruby in the world, but I really do believe that there is more of a chance that can be taken on her, because if she wants to run with the Rapunzel character, then just give her a chance, because I think that the best years of Ruby's career, the best years of Kylie's career are still ahead of them, and we need to really shy away from the criticism and show them the love and support they've deserved for what feels like forever, because this really has been the greatest honor of my life and so much fun talking about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you guys. Seriously, from my heart to yours, thank you so much. So if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to do that, because I have a lot to say where Descendants of Zombies goes. I will be back with a third show sometime this afternoon and a fourth one leading into this evening. So if you get the time, you can always watch this YouTube channel. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, in your drop-down notification bell, your YouTube bell will light up red every time Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs uploads his latest episode. And I would really love for you to be a part of it, because there's so much of a conversation yet to be had about Descendants of Zombies, and I've never felt more honored to be in your guys' presence to talk about your favorite stars from whatever franchises you've been a fan of for the last decade. It's really hard to believe that we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of Descendants. We've had 7 years pass us by since Zombies premiered, but we have more fans than ever who are so proud to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, loving it so much. So I think the best way of honoring you guys is by showing the prestige and the honor to the franchises you've loved so much for forever, the best way I know how. And that's to review it with heart, with an open heart, and an open mind. Guys, thank you so much. Stay calm and zombie on. We will talk more about Descendants of Zombies into this evening, which I hope you will join me for. Stay calm and zombie on, because that's the only way to be for the foreseeable future.